swear, it was a prank, bruh. It was just a prank, a social experiment. I didn't actually think they would do it. Hi, everyone. So for those of you who don't know, we got a ban list today. Like 12 hours after I did a joke ban list prediction video, and I got something right. I swear I didn't mean to. And more importantly, I didn't actually think it was something they would do. This list. Like, this list is one of the smallest lists I think we've ever gotten. And, like, it doesn't overly change what are the best decks, but there's some interesting hits here that when you think about their impact on the game, I think could be some stuff I'm really happy about, the beginning of some stuff. These sort of smaller lists seem to always be the prelude to a bigger list. Now, our next list won't be till July, which is after Nats, so I present to you all your Nats format. And also, like, realistically, it could come any point after July 1st, so who knows, they might just wait till after they get a lot of money for Battles of Legend and then ban Sky Striker. No way of knowing. All we know is what's in front of us, and that is what we're going to talk about today. Now, for those of you who don't know, I don't do live reactions to these, because I actually seriously do want to have my thoughts together when I talk about this. So we're just going to go through everything that got hit, starting with the banned cards, and then going to the unbanned cards, because, well, that's the order it's here on my computer. Anyway, so yeah, let's begin with what is now banned. Right off the bat, Summon Sorceress. So, ironically, a lot of people recently have been saying Summon Sorceress is okay for another format. Because, like, the card hasn't been seeing its super intense play. It hasn't been the key to any strategies. Like, Danger Thunder Dragon will use it, in some builds at least. But all in all, the card kind of was losing a little relevancy. That being said, I think it is definitely a card that is unfair and probably does deserve to be banned. Because the thing is that Orchist really used this card, and Orchist are about to get a hell of a lot stronger. So I think this was kind of a preemptive hit to them, and also it has been a problem card in the past and is one of those cards that will always be an issue in the future. So I think hitting it really was the best idea. Next we have number 95, Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon. I sense the potential of the Dragon Rulers coming back. Do you sense the potential of the Dragon Rulers coming back? I open with that statement because this is actually the card that got them banned. This is one of those cards that every couple of years was part of some stupid degenerate dragon combo, and we've been seeing it pop up more recently. We've been seeing its ability to swing for big numbers pop up more recently, and it's just one of those cards, kind of like with Summon Sorceress, the ability for it to be a big problem is always right around the corner. And also, if I'm correct, it was big in Gandora, FTK, and the OCG, and so I think getting rid of this thing, like with Summon Sorceress, is probably for the best for the health of the game. Finally, speaking of health of the game, we have the most important hit of the list, because this is the thing everyone wanted to go, because it affects what has been the most problematic card thing in Yu-Gi-Oh!, and that is they hit the Phantom Knights Rank Up Magic launch. This thing had to go. Like, it really did. Being able to turbo out Azathoth on your opponent's turn, King Kali-Yuga on your opponent's turn, and soon to be True King of all Calamities on your opponent's turn is not okay. Like, this sort of the problem. It's the same thing with Rank Up Magic Argent Chaos Force. It's the fact that it allows for decks to make monsters that they had no business making that was not meant for their archetype. And when we see this happen, it means that these cards sort of have to these cards basically have to take the fall for Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta's just history of liking degenerate bullshit. So by taking out the quick play that people have always thought was going to lead to a problem anyways, Azathoth gets to stay where he belongs with the fans of that deck, so does VFD and the DDD dude. So I think ultimately this was the right decision, especially because, like, I think Azathoth became a thing the week after Rongo and, like, Ronga Miniad went. Like, I don't think it was that long. Like, really, Yu-Gi-Oh? We couldn't have an okay format for, like, a week? But yeah, that's it for banned. Just in general, lately there's been an emphasis on hitting stuff people genuinely hate. Like a genuine emphasis on responding to what the player base wants. Hence with the Firewall banning, the Gumblar and Rongo banning, and now basically dealing with Azathoth. So I definitely think Koonami has been trying to be more wiser with their hits. So I respect that. Then we move on to things that are now at 1. I swear, guys, I did not actually think this would happen. Lady Debug is now at 1. I never thought Salamangreat would get any kind of a hit. The deck is very new. They're still making money off the Soulburner structure deck, and it's kind of become the everyday man's tier 1 contender. So to see them actually go after something in it so quickly, I mean, that's actually kind of nuts. That being said, I think this was, if you feel the need to give the deck a slap on the wrist, was a nice thing. Salamangreat is a really dominant deck, in part due to its cheapness, and so I definitely think doing something to it is nice. And also Lady Debug is a safe choice, since a lot of people have been experimenting with the ratios of that card anyways. So I think this is definitely more or less something to kind of just sort of steer something more in the right direction. So I like the hit. I still think it's a tad unnecessary, but it is what it is. Moving on, we have Phantom Sky Blaster at 1. Do I even need to go over this? Token generation is way too much in Master Rule 4. This card had to go. I think this was the last of the major token generators that was at 3, and considering how much Danger Thunder Dragon loves this card, I think hitting this was the right call, and it is good to see that basically there's one less card that can be abused for link spamming. Finally, under the limited list, we have Sky Striker Ace Kagari. Now, as many of you know, on the past several ban lists, and on the joke I did last night, I have been begging for Sky Striker hits. It's not the fact that I think this is the worst deck ever made. It's not the fact that I even think this is the most degenerate deck in the meta at this moment. It is the fact that it just keeps getting away with being at full power. It's the fact that it keeps being very dominant, be very oppressive in its own right, and just keeps getting to go while so many other decks get hit and the banhammer. Like, this thing gets to stay relevant for a year. This thing is going to be the deck for a year. That is crazy. And for those of you saying, well, they hit drones like 3 months after it came out, they hit drones so the engine would stop being splashed and everything. The drones hit was to protect the actual deck. And this is kind of that to an extent. We do see this card as being the main thing that's sort of put into other decks, so that way you can use it to recycle the drone, so that way you can go into a free link too. I think this is a nice start, as what makes Sky Striker so powerful is their ability to keep recycling and reusing their cards, and Kagari is what starts that off. So yeah, I definitely think getting rid of it is, or at least putting it to 1, and they can't have that freeness every turn, is probably a step in the right direction. I'd prefer it with some other hits, considering it's still such a powerful deck in the OCG. Simply just putting one of its cards to 1 is not going to be enough to stop it from being a tier 1 contender, and it makes me worry that its next hit is going to have to be really extreme, or they just won't really do much with it at all, and it'll just stick around. That's it for Limited. As many people have pointed out, no Saruja, which people really wanted to get limited. That's a little disheartening. No danger hits. I mean, with the announcement of the Tsuchinoko reprint, yeah, I don't think it was that unexpected, but I don't want dangers in the meta, and no one does. So that's probably going to be the thing we'll be demanding for next, if I were to take a guess. But I guess let them have their Nats format. So be it. There's nothing we can really do about it at this point. So then finally, we have the semi-limit, and I won't lie, guys, this kind of makes me moist. So Super Polymerization is now at 2. Super Poly hasn't been at 2 in a long-ass fucking time, and this is kind of interesting. Because, like, Super Poly isn't as powerful as it once was. Like, you can't use it to go into all your different Shadows. You can't use it to go into your Omni heroes. I mean, you can, but no one's playing those decks. And also under Master Rule 4, where you need link monsters, extra decks are so tight, and getting them onto the board can be really tricky. So this card definitely has been weakened, but it's still fucking super poly. Like, you can still experiment with it. There's a lot of interesting things you can do with it. And with it too, you can count on it more. You can use it more. You can do more interesting stuff with it. So all in all, I like this. I like the idea that now citing 2 of these and Starving Venom and maybe a Violet Chimera is now a more viable, reliable strategy. So I think this is a turn in the right direction, and who knows, maybe we'll see it go to 3 next format. And then finally, the last hit, and I'm kind of okay with this. Miscellaneousaurus is now at 3. For those of you who don't know, dinosaurs were kind of the Salamangrates of their day. Basically, it was like right out of the structure deck. Here's a tier 1 deck. Hell, I'd argue the dinos were even stronger than the Salamangrates. So to see them get something back, and this was the only hit they ever got. All these powerful cards they have, UCT, Overraptor, and this was the thing they hit. But seeing this come back to 3 nowadays is kind of exciting. It means there's another rogue deck that is a little bit more of a contender now, and dinos do show up from time to time. So I think it is sort of cool to see them get this back. Will this make them tier 1? No, but it can only help. So I'm okay with this. And this list is small. It doesn't really like shake up the tier 1 decks, or I mean it does, but it doesn't change what is tier 1. But it puts stuff in check, and it deals with some oppressive things in the game, and gives us a couple cool things. So yeah, it's a small list, but I think it's kind of a fun list, and I'm excited to see how this will change the way Sky Striker and Danger Thunder Dragon and how these decks play. But are you? In the comment section below, give me your thoughts on this ban list. Do you think it's enough? Do you think we needed more? Do you even think we really needed a list? Because a lot of people actually didn't. But tell me about that below. And as always, click to like, click subscribe, and join me in seeing what this new meta has to hold.